Hey guys, my name's Hannah and welcome to my masterclass on becoming a virtual assistant or freelancer. As you know, Beck is talking about becoming an entrepreneur and selling your own products through the use of funnels, and Taylor is talking about remote jobs and how to get those. We've all come together because we found it really important to give you guys an opportunity to make an intelligent decision about what kind of work you can do to move forward and live a remote lifestyle as a digital nomad or else. And so I'm really honored to be here, and I'm really excited to bring this presentation to you today, and I hope that what you get out of it is a lot more clarity about the direction you want to go in, and hopefully maybe you want to go in the direction of a virtual assistant. At the end of this presentation, I will be giving you an awesome offer to be able to continuously train as a VA, or else there are other offers going on at the end, so you want to stick around because you're not going to see these deals anywhere else. So let's jump into it. So is virtual assistance or freelancing your ticket to freedom? Let's find out. So you might be wondering who I am. There's my beautiful face there in a pool in Phuket. Who am I and why am I qualified to teach this? So I've been in the virtual assistant field now for 5 years, been in the industry 5 years, and I've trained over 400 people to become virtual assistants. I also have extensive personal experience as a VA and freelancer. I'm now working as a business strategist. However, I have years of experience in the VA field, and therefore I'm not just one of those people it says and does not do. I don't teach if I don't know. So I know my stuff, guys, and I'm really happy to share that with you. So I'm going to give you a really brief background about my last 10 years of traveling. I've been traveling 10 years this month, so it's really awesome that this is coming out. Good timing there. And yeah, I'm going to make this quick because 10 years is a long time, hey? So when I first started, I was traveling a lot. I was going around Europe. I was hitchhiking. I was doing a lot of woofing and workaways. I'm sure some of you are familiar with those platforms. A lot of house sits. Here's me cleaning windows in the Netherlands, farming and gardening. And I actually did a really cool workaway with husky dogs in Austria. It's probably one of the best experiences of the last 10 years. Here's me doing some humanitarian work in India, some more farming type stuff. And then I don't know about you guys, but if you aren't yet working remotely, but you are prioritizing travel, you may do what I used to do, and that's going away for extended periods of time and then coming home and working in kind of like a dead-end job for a bit just to get a quick job, make some quick money and get out. So I used to work in bars, restaurants, kitchens with no experience. As you can quite clearly see, I'm not very comfortable with that instrument there. I don't even know what it's called, see? So yeah, I would make enough money just to move on again. And I did this back and forth for years and years and years. And obviously I would go somewhere magical and have the time of my life and climb mountains and do all that fun stuff and then have to come back and work again. And it wasn't until 5 years ago that I actually went home to London and I met someone who was working remotely, was working from home. And this person was to become my now business partner, Valentina. And we actually founded our first company within 3 months of me discovering the magic of working from home. For me, it was like my aha moment. I really, I took to this immediately. It was like, wow, this is my ticket. I don't have to keep coming back. I can continuously stay on the road. I can see new places. And so, yeah, we started a web development and SEO company. I learned a lot about copywriting at the time. And then by default, I kind of turned into a virtual assistant as I realized a lot of our clients needed virtual assistants. I didn't even know what the term meant. I was just doing things that virtual assistants do. And the term came later for me. So this is me today. And over the last couple of years, we started training people through Digital Nomad Kit to become virtual assistants themselves so that they could also sustain a sort of location independent lifestyle from that. And been to many networking events, got myself some mentors in the form of Kim Luna, Pat Flynn. I'm sure you might know some of these people, really great people to follow and watch as you're growing online. And I think the moment came for me a couple of years ago in New York City, where I was working from my laptop in Times Square, and I just had this personal moment with myself where I was like, I made it. I'm a freaking digital nomad. Look at me in Times Square working on my laptop with my little Skyrim device. I'm not affiliated, by the way. But yeah, that was a real magical moment for me, as cheesy as that sounds. And now with our students all around the world, we do meetups. This is us in Lisbon a couple of months ago. And this is just recently, last weekend here in Budapest, a bunch of our students came up, and that was really awesome to see them. So we've created this awesome community of people who are now location independent. So you might be wondering now, what even is a virtual assistant? So what is this job that is allowing us to be location independent, to do and go where we want to go and work with who we want to work with and earn what we want to earn? So at its most basic, it's a person who assists another person or company, much like an office assistant, only remotely and often with the use of more innovative and technical tools. And who can be a virtual assistant? You might be sitting here wondering, is this for me? Is it something I can actually do? It sounds like there might be a lot involved. I like to say anyone, and I'm almost right with that. I say almost right because everyone can't do everything at the end of the day. So we have to decipher already if this is something you can even do. And becoming a virtual assistant isn't something that will come easy to a lot of people. A lot of people could do it if they put their mind to it, but it's not something that will come easy. So I want to talk through a little bit about if you're a good fit and what kind of things might constitute a good fit. So let's dive into that. What makes a great VA? Now, I'm going to use the word great because there are different types of VAs. You could be a more general VA who does a lot of things and charges low rates and doesn't have long-term clients and is using this as just, this one-off thing to make a little bit of money and run. What makes a great VA? What makes a VA who turns this into a successful and profitable long-term career? There are a lot of factors that go into that. So let's talk about that a little bit. So the first one is a great VA needs to be someone who has a natural desire to be of service and happy to be not to be center stage. So what do I mean by that? I mean someone who is naturally a helper by design, someone who naturally gets joy from helping other people achieve their goals. And when I say happy to not be center stage, I mean that you're happy to be the engine behind a business. You don't need to be the face of it. Maybe someday in the future you could be, but in the meantime, while you are working as being a virtual assistant, you're happy to not be behind the scenes. That doesn't make you uncomfortable. So that's quite an important one. If you don't have that sort of natural inclination, this might be tricky for you. Number two is your ability to quickly learn new tools and technologies as needed. So obviously working as a virtual assistant, you're working in a digital world where things are changing rapidly. So you might get really accustomed to using certain tools and then you'll get a new client and they'll be using different tools and they will expect you to learn them. And you need to be able to learn these off your own back. So that brings me to number three, which is investing in continuous learning off your own back. So unlike maybe in a traditional job setting where I know a lot of employers, especially in the corporate world, will put you on training courses or give you materials to study things that are changing in the company. As a virtual assistant, this is less likely to happen. So it's kind of down to you to keep up to speed with industry trends, what's happening, what new tools are out there, what strategies are working, and different ways to market yourself as well. It's not just for your clients. This is also for you. And then, being able to keep up with your competition, because there are a lot of virtual assistants out there, but there are strategies to make it easier for you to get those clients. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Being self-motivated and self-disciplined and your ability to keep to deadlines. Now, I can't stress enough how important this one is. You don't have someone on your back telling you when the deadline is. You don't have someone on your back telling you to get to work at 9 a.m. You need to do that. You need to get up. You need to do your work. You need to get it finished. And that can be really hard, especially you might have been the most disciplined employee in a job setting before, and then you switch to virtual assistants thinking you can do it. And it's hard. And a lot of people do make that switch and then find it really tricky. And it's something I struggled with for quite a long time. So a suggestion I have for you if you're a new virtual assistant is to get up in the morning, get ready as if you're going to an office and work 9 to 5 until you start to become comfortable with understanding your own rhythms and knowing that maybe you work better in the evenings or you work really good early in the morning. Stick to those sort of traditional working hours until you get a handle on that. Just so you're keeping yourself accountable. You can't, oftentimes as a virtual assistant, you'll get paid in advance of doing the actual work and you get that money in. It's really easy to just relax. No, because you're never going to make anything and you're going to get a bad reputation for yourself. So self-motivation and discipline is something you need to keep in high regard and be training yourself, building habits for yourself to keep yourself accountable. Number 5, you need to be a natural problem solver and a stellar communicator. So obviously being a virtual assistant, you are essentially a problem solver. If you could call virtual assistants another word, it would be problem solver. And that is because, people are hiring you to do something either they don't want to do or they don't know how to do. So either way, you're solving a problem for them. You want to be able to be a good communicator too, because, for example, I have a client who is over 60 years old. She doesn't even know how to use Facebook, which is fine. This is why she's hired me. But she wants to understand how her business runs because she wants to be empowered knowing that if I was away or for some reason we weren't working together, she would know how to do things in her business. So me being able to communicate to her how to do things that to her are very complex and to explain them in a calm, patient, and easy to understand way is really important. Also communication just for things like setting boundaries and expectations. So being really good at communication is super, super essential as a virtual assistant. And then I'm going to say number 6 is to have a pinch of an entrepreneurial spirit. Why do I say this? I say this because this is what differentiates a bog standard VA and a great VA. So a bog standard VA might be someone who just executes on what they're told to do. Whereas a more entrepreneurial VA will be the type of VA who gives input, who is integral in the decision-making in the business, who's almost like a partner in someone's business. And obviously that calls for more premium rates as well. The more integral you are to a business, the more you're worth to them, the more your value goes up. But not only that, if you are a virtual assistant, there are other things you can offer as well. You can offer your own products, your own webinars, your own marketing strategies you need. So a pinch of an entrepreneurial spirit, it's hard to say that word, will go a long way in this field in helping you just market yourself, but also with your clients. So at this point, you might be wondering, okay, I have some of those qualities. I like the sound of this so far. But what do virtual assistants even do? And I'm going to tell you what they do for 2 reasons. 1, because obviously you want to know. But 2, to kind of help you understand that you have a transferable skills right now that you could get paid for online with right now. Like right now. And I'll walk you through that. I'll give you some examples as well. And this is one of the things I really stress with my students is that you can get started immediately. You can get clients immediately. It's just about consistency, showing up and owning that. So let's go into what virtual assistants even do. So in this first line, we have general administration. This goes without saying, almost everyone has some experience of this, whether it's their personal taxes, whether it's they've worked in a corporate setting before, an office setting, or a receptionist. So some of the things you might be asked to do as a VA would be inbox management, travel booking, bookkeeping, customer support, data entry, diary management, and much, much more. I think that almost anyone would have 1 or 2 of those skills, especially if you've worked in an office. So you already have skills that you can offer online immediately. Design skills, so maybe you have a more creative background, but design skills could be used for things like creating logos or banners for websites and social media graphics. PDFs is a big one. Web design, flyers, business cards, signage, on and on and on. So many things in design that a virtual assistant could do. Writing. Hopefully everybody here can write. But copywriting, blog writing, I know many of the people who are attending this masterclass already have travel blogs. So you have experience in blog writing and potentially even WordPress and stuff like that. Social media posts, correspondence, ebooks, sales pages. So writing again in this field is pretty much endless with the possibilities of what you could offer here. Video and audio. So, you could, with video and audio, you could even potentially be putting together something like this presentation for someone, or editing promo videos, orchestrating podcast setups, optimizing videos for different social media channels. Video is huge right now with live streaming going crazy. So about repurposing people's content as well. So there's lots of stuff you can do with video and audio. Then we've got sales and marketing. So if you come from a PR background, it would be really awesome. I personally came from a public relations background before I started traveling for the last 10 years. But email marketing, keyword research, Facebook ads, competitor analysis, automation, and setting up funnels, much like what Beck is talking about in her masterclass too. So there's a lot of scope with sales and marketing, and you'll probably find as a virtual assistant that no matter what you do, it all kind of eventually comes down to sales and marketing, because that's the point of people being online, is to grow their business. So teamwork, whether you have worked within a team or you have managed a team, that's going to be useful in this field. So a lot of VAs will actually progress from virtual assistant to maybe project manager over time. So there's project management roles out there. There is training new hires, organizing remote team building events. That's like a hot one right now. And then recruitment, of course. Social media. It's a pretty obvious one. I know a lot of people watching this are probably millennials. I think most of us have a good handle on social media in some capacity already. And it's just growing on that, learning more, like I said, continuous education. So you might be doing scheduling posts, running Facebook ads, like I said before, community engagement, strategy, creating Facebook groups, managing those Facebook groups and pages, and that kind of stuff, Instagram, Facebook, everything, all the social media. And I think that is one of the most common things that people hiring virtual assistants need help with is their social media, especially the older generation need more help with that understanding because it changes very fast, you know? And then maybe you have a more technical background in web development or coding, for example. There are a lot of people that might just have a website that needs backups once a month or routine maintenance, security checks, perhaps even building full websites or updating plugins and themes on WordPress or just fixing errors as they come up. And this is a really good skill to have. If you have like a technical background, this calls for those higher rates. So that's a great thing to move forward with as a virtual assistant. So I'm going to make my face big for a minute to talk to you a little bit more about some of those transferable skills. And I hope that some of those examples have given you a bit of insight and got your brain ticking to think about more things, because that's by no means exhaustive. There is so much you can do as a virtual assistant, but I don't recommend doing all of it. So why don't I recommend that? Let's dive into that. You want to start thinking about what you're actually good at. So you might have experience in a lot of things, but are you actually good in it? So I'm going to give you an example of someone who might be very creative. Maybe you're a great graphic designer. Maybe you're really good at illustration. So take that, put that down in one of these circles. Write this down if you have the time. Otherwise, you can watch the replay a little bit later. But you want to start thinking about what you're really good at. And then from there, what brings you joy? So in the example of the person who's very creative and likes graphic design and maybe works with the Adobe suite a lot, what brings you joy doing that? Maybe not the actual doing it, but what about that brings you joy? Is it having artistic license to do things? Is it working with lots of autonomy? And then what you want to do is think about what can you get paid for? All of those things that I mentioned before, you can get paid for right now as an individual product or service right away. So in this same example, this person might be great at graphic design, might want lots of autonomy, might love having lots of artistic license, might want to get paid for creating ebooks for someone. So there you go. And then you want to be looking for this sort of sweet spot. And I'm going to tell you why it's really important to get to that sweet spot. And you want to do this a couple of times. You want to have a couple of sweet spots because these are going to be what you move forward with right away to start getting paid as a virtual assistant. Because I don't recommend doing a million things and being a jack of all trades. And I'm going to talk about that now. So the most important reason is obviously you want to be doing something that you like or even love. This is because if you're coming from a 9-to-5 job or just a job that you don't really like very much and you're going remote because you want more happiness in your life, you want more freedom in your life, there's no point doing stuff you don't like anymore. No excuses anymore. There's stuff you can do that you do like, okay? And you can get paid for it. So you want to be motivated. You don't want to be resentful towards your clients. So obviously, first and foremost, it's something you enjoy doing. Secondly, and this is a really big one, and this is what I want to keep stressing throughout this presentation, is that when you specialize in one or two areas, you stand out from the crowd. If you're offering lots of services, you're going to be lumped in with the rest of the VAs out there offering lots of services for a standard sort of service that's not very special. When you stand out and you say, like, for example, I work with life coaches, helping them set up their sales pages. That's very specific. And when a life coach out there is looking for someone who does sales pages, I'm the virtual assistant they're going to come to. Do you understand? So you're setting yourself apart from the crowd. It's easier for your marketing as well, and much easier to get jobs, to get clients quicker, you know. And then money, of course, because if you're doing specialized services and you're honing in on that one thing you're good at and getting great at it and only offering those couple of services, that calls for premium rates because you are a premium service provider at that point. And you might be wondering now how. Okay, so you figured out what you want to offer, but who do you want to serve and how are you going to find them? All that kind of stuff. I get it. That's tricky. And this is exactly why I'm doing this today, so that you can understand how easy it can actually be. So first of all, I'm going to immediately say that we're not going to mention the word Upwork here. This is like a dirty word in my vocabulary. It's not even in my vocabulary. Done. Never going to say it again. Never, ever use Upwork to sell your services. There's a very good reason I say that. I don't just say it for any reason. It's because generally speaking, people who are going on Upwork to find remote workers, they're not looking for long-term engagements. They're not looking for a really quality job. They're looking for cheap, they're looking for quick, and they're looking for short-term. And often they're not even looking for high quality. They just want quick turnaround. It's not a play. There are people that have been successful with it, and kudos to them, but 99% of the time, people are just moaning about it. I have used it in the past. It's a terrible idea. You're competing with prices that are ridiculous, like under $10 an hour. Like nobody wants to work for that. It's not sustainable, especially for someone working from a Western country where those rates just, they don't even cover basic daily needs. So I don't recommend using Upwork. Also, you want to be going for long-term clients. You don't want to be going for quick jobs. And I say that because you want financial security, of course, but also the employer wants someone that they can really trust for their business, that they don't have to get an office and put 10 people up in there. It's beneficial to them to have virtual assistants monetarily, but also virtual assistants that understand their business, that if they were away for the day, they can entrust you with it and they can put it in your hands and feel empowered knowing that they have a team behind them. So you do want to go for those long-term engagements, and Upwork's not the best place to find that. It's definitely possible, but like I said, not going to say it again. Gone forever. So you might be thinking, how else do I find clients then? And that's totally reasonable. So I'll talk you through some of those things. So you want to start thinking about, and this is going to sound really cliche, but you want to start thinking about what your passions are outside of work, because they're not irrelevant here. Even if they seem irrelevant, put that thought aside and start thinking about these passions. So a good example would be one of my current students is in her spare time, she's a professional clown, which you would think, wow, that's nothing to do with being a virtual assistant. How could you marry that? But funnily enough, she had an interview for a clown school in Norway to help them with their social media. So you need to remember, guys, that everyone is online. Everyone is online, whether you're a school, a brick and mortar business, a solopreneur, a bloody supermarket. Everyone is online. Everyone is online, and everyone's goal in line is to further their business. So if you're looking at maybe you want to work with constructions, maybe you like doing DIY stuff and you want to work with construction sites. I don't know, it's a weird example, but you get it. They're going to have a social media presence, and if they don't, they want one. So that's your opportunity to then go in and educate them and offer your services. So start thinking about these passions, and then think about those skills that you want to work with and how you could potentially marry that with these industries. So then start thinking about what companies and what entrepreneurs you already look up to, or that you feel aligned with their values. So for example, you really like how Mind Valley has their Awesome Fest. You love that they have this very collaborative and open and honest way of communicating with each other. So that might be sort of, the sort of personality traits, but also the company culture you really like. So start thinking about that and identifying these communities where these people are, and where these companies start communicating with maybe some of their employees and on LinkedIn, and once you start delving, you'll start finding more just like that. And you'll start to identify a recurring theme, and you'll be able to think about who you want to be working with a bit better and be able to nail that down. And for the same reason that I tell you to figure out a couple of services that you're really good at and go with them, it's the same thing with this. Your target audience needs to be niche. It needs to be something that you specialize in. You want to become a thought leader, authority in that space, because when someone comes and they want something very specific and they're from a very specific niche, you are going to be presented to them, no one else. It makes you stand out from the crowd. It makes competition not an issue anymore, and it means you can charge more money. So then you also want to think about, what's your purpose in helping companies like these or industries like these? So I always say to write this in a sort of declaration style, or like a bio that you can use across social media or use when you're talking to people as sort of an elevator pitch. So you want to think, a good example would be myself. So I work with predominantly health and wellness professionals, especially doctors. Why do I do this? Because, so I'll do my little bio for you. I always say, so I'm Hannah. You can use the same template as me. So I'm Hannah, and I work with health and wellness professionals, helping them with their sales and marketing. And this is instrumental to my purpose because I am enabling more people to get healed throughout the world. So for me, that is as cheesy as it sounds, it's serving my purpose because I know that the work I'm doing behind the scenes is directly affecting their ability to help more people. And that's not something I can do. They can do that. I can help them get there. So you want to start thinking about what's your purpose in helping these industries. Maybe you really like basketball and you want this basketball team to get more ticket sales. Maybe it's as simple as that. But yeah, start identifying who it is you might want to be working with and why. And your why, you want to keep coming back to that, because if you feel out of alignment at some point down the line, if you're working with the wrong industry and you're feeling down, this is not going to be a great career for you. You want to start identifying that now. That being said, don't be defined by what you decide right away. So your industry can change, your services can change, but don't let it stop you if you don't know what that is yet. Choose something. Choose one thing that you're pretty good at. Choose one industry you kind of like and go with it. Because if you don't do that from the start, you're going to get stuck. You're not going to keep moving forward. You're going to procrastinate and think, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Get started. Once you get started and get your first couple of clients, you're going to be able to identify what you do and what you don't like about doing this task or that task or working with this type of people or that type of people. And you can start to tweak it as you go. Eventually, you'll have something solid to work with. But if you already know, fantastic. If you don't know, choose something. Just choose something. This is where that discipline comes in. Choose something, get started. So I'm going to give you a quick recap of those points I covered there because I went on a little bit. But a quick who recap. What are your passions outside of work? How can you marry them with your digital skills? What companies or entrepreneurs display these values, your values? What personality traits are important for you in any relationship? And this goes back to, that long-term thing. You want long-term clients. So any long-term relationship, you want to get on with these people. And what is your purpose in helping these types of people? Set your declaration and bio. Set your why, basically. And you can tweak that to put it around your social media, your LinkedIn, your Facebook page, your Twitter and Instagram bios. So you can start getting yourself out there and letting people know what you do. So next you might be thinking, okay, great. I have some ideas already for how I might want to, the kind of people I want to work with. But how do you get these people? How do you get the clients? Especially if we're not using the thing that should not be named. Okay, so first of all, you want to reach out to your existing network. If you are, for example, again with the basketball, if you are a huge basketball fan, you love basketball, you play basketball, and you want to be a virtual assistant, I encourage you to delve into that. I encourage you to reach out to your existing basketball network because I assume if you're into basketball, you're going to have a network of people who are also into basketball. So whether that's teams or players from the thing that you play on the weekends or something like that, you want to start reaching out to people because basketball teams will have Facebook pages. They will have websites. I'm just giving you one example, but you can apply this to anything. Reaching out to them and in a very sincere and very authentic way, and never in a salesy way, never in a primary way, just saying, hey, I'm making the transition to remote work. I'm going to be becoming a virtual assistant. These are the kind of things I want to be doing, and I want to be doing them in this industry because I love it so much. Is this something you've ever considered? And if not, why? And could you give me some feedback? Is this something you'd like? So you're not actually saying to them, I want to work with you, give me a job. You're saying, could you give me some feedback? Am I on the right track here? And people love that, seeing that sort of vulnerability there as well, because you're getting the feedback you need. They're getting an insight into how things could be if you were helping them. And that gets their brain thinking about remote work as well. So yeah, reaching out to your existing network is absolutely a really big game changer. And we have a 5-day challenge we do, and in that one of the tasks in there is to actually reach out to their network. And a lot of people get leads and jobs on that day. So this is a really important step. Don't undermine the value of doing this. Secondly, would be engaging and supporting in Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups. Now, this may sound very obvious, but it's the way you do it that's important. So when I say going into Facebook groups, I don't mean finding those groups that say something like virtual assistant jobs group. You don't want to be going to those. You want to be going into groups where your target audience hang out. So again, with the basketball, I'm just going to stay with the basketball today. If you find a community on Facebook of basketball fans, or for a particular club even, or people who are yoga instructors, something like that, and there is a Facebook group, you want to get in that group and you want to start helping people, because all these people will have similar issues, and then along comes you with answers to these issues, not in the way of here's my services, but in the way of, hey, you know what, I know how to do that thing. Here's a quick YouTube video I made on that. You're going to be building your own content library whilst getting people to know, like, and trust you. This is really important, guys. Know, like, and trust. They'll start to get to know you. They'll start to get to like you because you're communicating with them in a friendly way, in a way where they're building real relationships with you. And they'll begin to trust you because you're often and consistently putting out sound advice, sound tutorials and help. And this is only going to position you really well in that sort of industry. And when someone needs a virtual assistant or needs some sort of work online, who are they going to tag? They're going to tag you. Another one would be like publishing relevant content specific to your target audience. So let's say that maybe you are wanting to work for lawyers' offices. You want to work with their social media or help with their websites. A really good platform for you would be LinkedIn. LinkedIn's publishing platform is great for that. So with that, you could then start writing posts on there about, let's give a really good example. A very niche specific example would be, so how to get more clients as a lawyer through Instagram stories. Now that is going to be like, whoa, for a lawyer, wow, Instagram stories, never thought about that. I'm going to read that. And you know, they're going to read it. You're going to give them amazing advice. And when they want someone to help them with it, they're going to come to you. So start publishing that relevant niche specific content right from the get-go. And then another really big one is befriending other virtual assistants. So by befriending other virtual assistants, you're able to refer clients to each other because, like I said before, you want to specialize in a couple of things, not everything. So you'll have other virtual assistant friends who could cover fill the gaps where you can't do things, and vice versa. So they might come to you and say, hey, I have someone that wants me to set up a website. I can't do that. You can do that. And you could potentially give that person a referral fee, or you could have an agreement where you refer clients. Either way, it's really important to have a virtual assistant network behind you because that client sharing is invaluable. Another one would be offering what I call unsolicited but highly warranted advice. And this comes in the form of approaching companies or solopreneurs and not identifying flaws so much, but showing them ways in which they could better what they're doing and potentially in a way that would bring them more sales or more followers. So a good example would be that I sent MailChimp a list of 10 ideas of things that they could do to better their program. And their immediate response to me was, wow, thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I see that you really love this product, and that's so awesome that we have fans like you. Thank you so much, and we're going to consider all of these. Now, because I didn't want to work with them, I didn't follow up. But what you do after that in a normal situation where you want the job is you follow up and you say, absolutely, no problem. I absolutely love this company. I love what you do. I love what you stand for. And if you ever need help implementing this, you know where I am. So you're giving people this unsolicited but really highly valuable advice on something they can do to move forward. And they might not know how to do it. They might love that idea and not know how to do it. And then you're not pitching, you're not being salesy, you're not being sleazy or gross. You're just like, I'm so glad you liked my suggestions. If you ever need help with that, here I am. That's a great way of getting your expertise out there too. And then live streaming as well is a big one. So in the same way that I said about putting out niche specific content and valuable advice and maybe tutorials, doing that through live streams is really effective for your business pages just because it has a lot of reach. People get to engage with your face. You want to get to know people, build real connections with people and not be this kind of behind the scenes nobody. Virtual assistants are people. We are people, and people want to know who we are. People invest in people. They don't invest in anything else, basically. They invest in people. They want to get to know you. They want to get to like you. They want to get to trust you. And then lastly, I would say creating your own community is another really good way forward. So a good example is a good friend of mine, Velmod, who's also a virtual assistant. She started a Facebook group for female entrepreneurs who are struggling with tech. And she's not promo in there. She's not salesy or sleazy in there. She's just created this awesome space for people to come and be open about the issues they're having with technical stuff. She has a lot of tutorials in there, blogs, lots of resources for them. And then when they don't want to DIY it, who are they going to turn to? Her. So if you're not finding communities, build your own. The internet is full of people who are looking for communities. If there is not one, build it. Okay, so I'm going to go quick little run over of some of the rules of doing things this way. So it's the how recap. So reaching out to your existing network, of course, engaging, supporting in Facebook and LinkedIn groups, publishing relevant niche-specific content, befriending other virtual assistants, offering unsolicited but highly warranted advice, live streaming on your business page, and creating your own community. These are all great ways to get clients. And being consistent with this, guys. If you do this a few times, then don't show up. People are going to forget you. Consistency is key for this. The general rules are don't spam, don't promo, don't be a douche. Goes without saying, you don't want to come across sleazy. You want to come from a place of value and support. Do be yourself. Becoming a virtual assistant or freelancer gives you the power to kind of do things your own way, and your vibe attracts your tribe. As cliche and cheesy as that sounds, it's very, very true. Look at, for example, Kimra Luna. If you don't know her, go and Google her. She has vibrant purple hair and piercings and tattoos, and she is unapologetically herself, and that has only helped her in business. So be yourself, be honest, be you, be absolutely 100% you. Do go out of your way. Do go out of your way to help people. If you have a few hours in the day and you have nothing better to do, go into a Facebook group, find out if someone's having a problem with anything, offer your support. Take your time, make a quick YouTube video. Like I said, that helps you, it helps them, and you're building your content library. So go out of your way when you do have that time, and do offer support. And I mean this in every sort of way. So even if you don't know the answer to people's questions, sometimes you can offer moral support. Being a business owner is hard work, and sometimes in these groups, people will get really, down and upset, like this didn't work and I lost money. And offering moral support and showing up is still a way of getting known, liked, and trusted. That's a hard word that was hard to say. So showing support in every way possible, basically. So after you have started to kind of get involved in these communities and you've started to build some traction, you're going to get to a stage where you're going to be needing to offer a discovery call. Now, what is a discovery call? Once you've gauged someone's interest in your services, you want to offer them a 15 to 20 minute free discovery call. This is designed for both of you to figure out if it's intelligent for you to move forward together. You want to be asking a lot of questions and listening very intently and giving honest advice and answers, and never overpromising. The more authentic you are, the better it will go. So the discovery call, really, you want to treat this in a sense that they're not interviewing you, you're also interviewing them. You want this to be an ongoing arrangement where you're both really happy and really comfortable with each other and have the same goals for that business. And like I said, if you don't know something, there's nothing wrong with telling them that. People tend to think that virtual assistants can do everything. They can't. We're only human. We can't do everything. So if someone says to you, I want you to manage my Twitter account, I want you to do Facebook ads, and I want you to do all my PDF design. You might not know Facebook ads. There's nothing wrong in that moment. In fact, it's really good for you to be honest and say in that moment, I can do these two things for you. Facebook ads is not really my forte, but I do have someone I can refer you to, and I would still love to work with you on those other areas because I'm really excited about potentially working with you. Being like vulnerable and honest like that is really important and very endearing, and definitely a quality that people who want to hire you are gonna like. So with the discovery call, it can go two ways. Obviously, you could get a resounding yes, which is fantastic, or you could get a resounding no, which isn't too bad. So let's talk about why the no is not a bad thing. You're going to get no's. Everyone is going to get no's at the beginning. And even now, I sometimes still get no's. But the no's always get you closer to a yes. when you first get that no on a discovery call, you want to figure out if it really is a no or is it just a not right now. So identify that, have a chat with them. Is this something you could see happening in the future? Could I ask why maybe you're not ready to move forward with this? Is there any way that I could help you feel more comfortable about this sort of arrangement? If for any reason it's absolutely just a no, that no way, they don't want to work with you, it went terribly, or maybe it didn't go terribly, they don't want a virtual assistant, they don't know what they were thinking. It happens. In that case, this isn't bad for you. This is an opportunity to get feedback. If you've invested 15, 20 minutes of your time with someone, that person's normally going to invest the time to write you a little bit of feedback. So after the call, follow up with them, and you just want to say, hey, I really enjoyed our chat together. If you could potentially give me a little bit of feedback about why you weren't keen on moving forward with me, that will really help me in the future with future discovery calls. I know you understand from a business perspective that it's always important to be moving forward. So if you could give me some feedback, that would be fantastic. And then boom, you have a win there. You've got some constructive advice from them, how to move forward, how to treat the next call. So don't treat your no's as like a disaster. Don't get down on yourself. It happens. It's going to happen. Accept that it's going to happen. Accept that knowing that putting yourself out there means you are going to get put out there for rejection. It happens. And being comfortable with that. It's totally fine. Obviously, the best case scenario would be a yes. And then the yes can also be scary because what do you do then? How do you price your services? How do you get them to sign the contract and do the deal and start working with you? So I will talk now a little bit about the main pricing structures for virtual assistants. Now, back what I said about Upwork. You might have seen jobs on there and they're for really low hourly rates, like $10 an hour, even $5. I've even seen one on there for $1 an hour. We're not doing that. I'm not even going to go there. The minimum, absolute minimum of virtual assistants should be paid in this day and age, excuse me, is $25. 20 at a stretch. So normally you want to be pricing yourself somewhere relative between $20 an hour and $50 an hour based on your current experience, up to date, and how comfortable you feel and how long you think it will take you to learn certain things. So, if you know that you're not very tech savvy, but there's like a couple of things you can do pretty well, $20 to $25, even $30 is acceptable. If you've been maybe working online for yourself for 6 months to a year and you know a few things really, really well and you can offer them, you can go straight in at $40, $50 an hour. But let's talk about the actual pricing models because it's up to you how you price yourself. These are just my recommendations. But the models, there are 3 main models for virtual assistants and freelancers. And those are, first of all, the hourly, which is what I recommend if you're just starting out. It's not something you want to stay on long term, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But it's a really easy way to start, and it's a way that makes your clients feel comfortable at the beginning. The second one is retainer pricing. So this is where the client will pay you at the beginning of every month or every week, depending on your agreement, but tends to be monthly. They pay you in advance of that month, and that can either be for a set amount of hours every month or for set outcomes, things that need to be delivered within that month. And this is really nice. It's nice to move from hourly to this because you have that financial security of knowing when your money's coming in, knowing that it's coming. You have contracts in place that say you both need to give notice. So you just have that security. And also for the employer or the recruiter, it's really great for them as well because they know that you need to give notice too. It's much more secure. And then the last one is value-based pricing, which is probably the hardest to gauge and definitely not something I recommend if you're just starting. So I'll just give a brief introduction to that. But value-based pricing is basically coming from a place of selling your value and not your time. So an example I always use for this is someone who may have a lot of experience working with a particular client, so they understand the ins and outs of their business, they understand how their sales and their launches always go, they understand how their customers engage with them, they understand all that stuff. So maybe, let's say Mary, for example, wants to assist Shelley, and Shelley says, can you build me a funnel and a landing page and maybe put a Facebook ad up for a launch that I have next month? Now, Shelley's product is $500. Mary knows that her email list usually converts at around 4%. And she also knows that by running some Facebook ads based on previous ad data, that she's likely to get another 2,000 people on her email list. So you have all these data and specifics in mind. And then you know how much this person's going to make on this launch. And then you can be like, okay, so Shelley's going to make $50,000. I want a certain percentage of that. I want 15 grand for this project, or I want 7 grand for this project. So that's more value-based pricing. There are different ways to do it. I like to do it like that because putting an actual ROI on your value is a really effective way to get paid those higher amounts of money. So it's a lot of people kind of consider that value-based pricing is sort of the mecca of pricing for virtual assistants. But to get started with hourly is absolutely fine. I just don't recommend staying on it. So I'm going to give you a little strategy that I use and all my students use when they first start working with someone. So when you're on this discovery call, it starts here. You want to offer them a 5-hour package and they pay for that up front. So if your rate is $50 an hour, it's $250 right away, or whatever it is for you, that you're getting that chunk of money immediately, and you set some outcomes that you'll complete within that 5 hours, and you over deliver in that time. You blow them away in those 5 hours. After those 5 hours, they're so happy. Yay, everything's great. It looks amazing. You want to start talking about retainers immediately. The quicker you can move to retainers, the happier you're going to be long term. So like I said, you want to go for long-term clients. You want to get them on the 5-hour package. Then you want to talk about retainers. So yeah, staying on that hourly is fine for a bit, but if you can move them across right away, that's great. And also this 5-hour package is really attractive to people on these discovery calls because it's a low-cost commitment, it's a short-term commitment, and it's an opportunity for you to both figure out if working together is a good idea or not. So now that we've talked through a lot of kind of how to get clients, how to get started, and what kind of things you should be offering, who you should be working for, I'm going to give you a very, very brief overview of the tools that you might be using. So this might look a bit overwhelming, and that's fine. But these are the tools that I use in my business, either every day or at least every other day. And when you start, you don't need all of these at all. The most common ones are Slack, which is a communication tool, Zoom, this is for having video calls, LastPass, which is for sharing passwords securely, Toggle, which is for tracking your time, and PayPal for getting paid. That's what you need to get started. The rest of this will come over time, and actually if you end up purchasing this masterclass, you'll actually get a PDF with a list of all these tools, a little description of what they are, and links to them as well. But yeah, you might want to screenshot this. My face is in the way of that one there. Canva, I actually built this whole presentation in Canva, so there's a cool one for you. And Loom is what I'm recording on. So yeah, it's just a really quick overview of some of the tools you'll want to be using, or you'll be expected to kind of know as a beginner VA as well. These are all kind of the baseline tools. So there's actually a very good reason why I showed you all those tools. Because something that not many people talk about as a freelancer or virtual assistant is how to get paid leave. It's often more difficult to do so when you're like an independent contractor. So some of the ways that you can make sure that you're still earning money when you take time off work are through affiliate marketing. So this is like an additional way that you can bring an income in as a virtual assistant, and that's through some of those tools and affiliating to them. So affiliate marketing is essentially promoting someone else's product or services and taking a cut of the sales that you make. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit about how I do that in my own business and how that allows me to be able to take time off and know that I still have some income coming in. So here's my sexy making money face. So how much money am I earning passively on that? So with ConvertKit, which is one of the tools on that page before, it's an email marketing platform. Often as a virtual assistant, you're in a really good position to suggest tools and get people set up on certain tools and have them use your affiliate link. So ConvertKit is one of those tools that a lot of my clients have used in the past, and a lot of people have just read my blogs and these kind of specific content that I've been putting out where I promote ConvertKit and talk about the benefits of it and how to use it. And the really cool thing about their program is that it's recurring commission. So every month that they pay, I get paid. So I'm earning just under $550 every month just from ConvertKit alone. So it's a really good thing to think about, with the tools that you're using as well, how you can make money from them. I'm making between $200 and $300 per month from SiteGround. SiteGround is a web hosting platform, so it's where people put their websites. And I have a post that I put in a lot of groups, and people are asking about what the best sort of hosting is, or they're asking questions about SiteGround, and I put that in there, and they quite generously use my affiliate link. So I'm making between that, because that's not recurring, but it's £30 for every single payment that gets made. And then obviously part of my niche for selling my, my VA training is nomads, digital nomads. So nomad deals and products. A good example would be Beck's Nomad Fly. I'm affiliated to that. So I often will, recommend certain products and programs to people that I really like and really recommend. And I'm earning, up to about $400 per month on that as well. So this is all passive income, guys, pretty much passive. ConvertKit being the most, because that's recurring. And then Amazon Associates is another one. If you have a blog and you want to recommend certain products, these can be not just books and stuff. They can also be things like hardware, maybe webinar equipment, or even computers and cameras. So I'm not really pushing on that. I'm probably making, around $50-ish every month, sometimes more, sometimes less. And then obviously with my students, sometimes they want very specific training that I don't offer, but because of the networking I've done, I'm able to offer them discounts on other people's courses that are for specialized training, maybe copywriting, for example. So, with this networking that I've done, I'm able to secure, maybe 40% commissions, and I'll actually give 20% of that to my students and then take 20%. So making, up to around $350 a month on that as well. And then something which is not affiliate marketing, but it's an additional way you can make money, is through consulting. So oftentimes people don't want to hire a VA to do stuff. They want someone to get on a call with them and show them how to do a particular thing, or they just need consulting about how to do stuff. So you can charge more for private consulting, and I'm averaging about 4 calls per month. So that's another 400 for only 4 hours work. So, tally that up. That's passive income. That's almost passive income there. So when you want to take time off, or if you're sick, or if you just need a vacation, having affiliate marketing and consulting behind you is really, really helpful. So I hope that now you've started to see some of the ways that not only through your services, but through other ways you can make a lot of money as a virtual assistant. And it's not this thing where you need to be charging $10 an hour for your services and struggling. You can definitely be earning quite a lot of money with this. I know some VAs that are making 6 figures, and I'm not going to say you're going to make that right out the gate. It's like anything, it's hard work at the beginning. Then it gets easier as you get to know it, and as you learn more things and learn how to communicate and market yourself. So I hope that this presentation so far has got you interested in this particular career field, because I think it's really exciting, and I do think it's one of the easiest ways to start working remotely, because as I said in the beginning, you already have skills you can start selling now. So at this point, you're either thinking, you want to be a virtual assistant? Hell yeah. Awesome. If you want to be a virtual assistant, you can go ahead and you can purchase my VA starter kit through NomadWork. Now, the benefits of purchasing through NomadWork and not through me directly are that you also get this masterclass and the PDF that goes along with this. Now, what is the VA starter kit? It's designed for people who are new to the online space, who want to pursue a VA career, and they're just starting out. So let's go through what's included in that. You get lifetime access to our 5-day VA challenge. Now, what is that? It's a 5-day course that's integrated. It's a module integrated into this course that takes you for 5 days through setting up your business page on Facebook, starting to reach out to clients, giving you templates to work with. And a lot of people actually will either find that their initial clients, or at least some really good leads in those 5 days. So it's an intense course where you're pushed out your comfort zone immediately, but for good reason. How to optimize your workspace. That's, how to set up your computer effectively to be most efficient as a virtual assistant. You get a list of the best Facebook groups to help you get visible in. There's, I think it's over 100 groups in there now. They also list their promo days. So when you are allowed to promo, you know when those are. And they are also in the categories of the industries as well. So you should be able to find at least 1 or 2 really good Facebook groups in there out of that big list. There's a bonus video on advanced ideal client discovery. So again, diving a bit deeper into figuring out who your ideal client is and why you want to serve them and where they are and stuff like that. Swipe files with VA contracts and terms and conditions, absolutely essential. How to conduct your first conversation, so more in depth about that discovery call. And we actually have a guest expert, Jade Gemma, who is a sales expert, who talks you through how to have that sales conversation at the beginning, which I know is a tricky subject for many to approach. So she kind of walks through how to talk money as a virtual assistant. Training on how to gain immediate visibility as a VA, discovering the skills you already have and get paid for. We've already gone through a little bit of that here, but it's a bit more in depth than the starter kit. How to effectively use all the Google apps because maybe you're using them, but maybe not to their full potential. How to make clients stay with you and how to love you, basically client retention strategies. How to track your time and produce beautiful reports for your services. And then we also have a lot of expert resources in there right at your fingertips, so you don't have to keep searching blindly for info and, losing time on low quality information out there. So we've compiled a lot of resources for you guys. You also get help figuring out who you want to work with and how, and you get priority access to our recruitment platform, which is in the making. Also included in the VA Starter Kit, we're giving you 12 months free access to our private community of budding VAs, and this is called the Nomad VA Inner Circle. It's a paid community. You get 12 months free with a VA Starter Kit. Inside there, every month you get 2 live Q&A sessions with me, so you can ask me anything on these Q&A sessions, and they're really good fun, and a lot of people really utilize them at any stage in their business, whether they're a complete beginner or they're seasoned veteran virtual assistants and freelancers. We do 1 monthly student spotlight consultation in the group every month. So that's one person gets picked out of a hat, literally. You apply, you get picked out of a hat, and I'll get on a live call with you with the group there present and walk you through, where you're at in your business, where you want to be in your business, and giving you strategies to move forward. We have daily themes and inspiration to keep you on track, a dedicated support network. So everyone in there is great. Like, you're going to make some seriously long-term friends out of this. Access to our VA job alerts first. So that also goes hand in hand with that platform we're doing, but also now even with my network, I get a lot of work I can't do because I don't have the time. So I will put those job alerts in there as well. And digital nomad tips, resources and deals. It's always handy if you're going for that nomad lifestyle to have these sorts of things in there. So it's a really awesome place. And like I said, you want to have VAs around you. You want to have other VAs to refer you to them and refer you to them and them to you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So you get that community in there as well. And like I said, right at the beginning of this presentation, we've started to have a lot of meetups in the last year, and it's really fun, awesome community of people, a great place to start growing your VA business. So you can click that right there and you can join that. It's $129. You also get included this masterclass and the PDF that goes along with this. So it's a really awesome deal, guys, and we would love to support you over there. If you're still not sure about your options, maybe you're still considering Taylor or Beck, so maybe you want a remote job, maybe that feels more secure for you, or maybe you just don't want to take a back seat ever. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur and create your own products right out the gate. So I encourage you to go and watch their masterclasses if you haven't already, and you can also buy their individual courses. If you're just not sure or you don't have time to watch all this today, the best option for you will be buying the NomadWork package. That includes Beck's course, which is her Nomad Funnel 10-day challenge. So it's getting your own product out there and selling it within 10 days. You've got Taylor's product in there as well, which is the Start Working Now program. And included in that is everything you need to know about finding a remote job, from resume creation all the way to the interview process and then actually the whole onboarding process. So that's really awesome. And then of course you get my VA Starter Kit. On top of all that, you get all our masterclasses, all our PDFs, and for the first 5 people to sign up, you're also going to have the opportunity to have a live 30-minute consultation with either me, Beck, or Taylor, depending on who you feel most inclined you want to talk to about your particular business direction or how you want to go remote. So it's a really awesome deal, guys, and you're saving a hell of a lot of money by buying this big package. So if you're just not ready, maybe you're in a contract with your job, or maybe you're just not ready to make a decision right now, having these resources at your fingertips is going to be so priceless to you that I just encourage you right now to hit the buy button and join us on the other side, because we want you, this is why we did this. We wanted to give you options. We wanted to give you all the expert advice that we have to help you to get to the right place and with the right career path that makes sense for you based on your skills, based on your passions. So if you're not sure, I totally encourage you to get the NomadWork full package. and that's only $297. You're saving over $1,000 by doing that. And so this brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'll show you my pretty tired looking face, but here it is. I was going to say pretty, but then I realized it was tired, so I said pretty tired. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me up till now, and I really hope that this presentation has given you clarity, either knowing that you want to become a virtual assistant or maybe that one of the other paths is right for you. In any case, I hope it's been informative, and I've really enjoyed being able to share this with you, and I hope to see you somewhere in the world someday. Ciao, guys.